It's the Mr. Ugly Show starring Mr. Ugly and the Human.
A few years ago, we did a 2-part episode on female Transformers. We talked about the characters themselves, the sometimes questionable history of gender in the Transformers, and we showed off the toys representing some of these characters that are in the Humans collection. And now we're a small channel, but among the videos we produced, these two on female Transformers remain our most watched. So we figured, seeing as it's Women's History Month once more, and seeing how female representation in Transformers media has increased significantly recently in print, animation, and toy forms, it's time to revisit the subject. The new female Transformers I've acquired since our last video on the subject are by no means everything that's currently available. Just as before, I've only got those characters that appeal to me or toys that struck me as novel enough to collect. We're not going to recap the history of female representation or handling of gender roles in Transformers media like we did in our previous videos. If you want that info and you missed out on those, the Human's going to toss a couple of links up there in the corner for you to go check out. Go look at those and come on back here when you're ready. So, without further ado, here we go! Before we get started, I guess we do need a little bit of background info to sort of set the scene. First of all, female representation in Transformers media has only increased since the last time we covered the subject, with new figures of previously overlooked characters, new incarnations of old characters, and new animated series adding to the roster. There's a lot going on. In my opinion, there has been an increase in third-party companies turning out female bots too, and not just the pervy ones we used to get. You know what I mean. Cute as well as serious third-party female bots have been showing up more frequently lately too. Well, why don't we start with the mainline Transformers releases, and then we'll circle back to the third-party figures. Sounds good to me. Hey, I see some familiar faces, and some new ones. Well, there's the obvious RC here from the Bumblebee movie, as well as the possibly obvious RC from the Transformers Prime animated series. But she looks a bit off. And who are these others? Okay, so let's start with the RCs. Yes, this pink and white lady is RC, as she appeared in the Transformers Bumblebee movie, where she was depicted in the opening battle scene on Cybertron, where the Autobots fled in the face of overwhelming Decepticon forces. She was on screen for like 2 seconds. Blink and you miss her. She's a well-articulated figure with good posability and a high level of detail based on the movie's CG model. But, in the movie, she doesn't transform, right? Right. So the folks at Hasbro invented an alt mode for her. RC transforms into a Cybertronian motorcycle tricycle kind of thing. And here she is. It works pretty well visually, but the way her front wheels tab together isn't particularly strong. I'm also not a huge fan of the way they want her guns to sort of stick out the back of the vehicle mode like weird extended exhaust pipes or something. But overall, a pretty good looking RC. Next up, another RC. A fan-favorite version of RC comes from the Transformers Prime animated series. Here we have Transformers Legacy Prime Universe RC. She's got enough of the design cues from the original Prime character model to be recognizable, but with a slight chonkification to make her more G1-ish. Chonkification? Weren't you an English major in college? That was decades ago, and also, shut up. She turns into a blue motorcycle, just as she did in the Prime animated series. Yeah, she looks good. But, what's with the weird translucent blade disc thingies? Didn't she have guns and, arm blades in the cartoon? Good memory, Fuzzhead. Yes, you are correct. But this time they gave her these blue translucent blades that can combine into a giant shuriken or something. It's an odd choice perhaps, but it works for me. Okay, that takes care of the mainline RCs. But what about these other two ladies? Now, this one looks like she's cosplaying as Elita 1. Well, that may be because she is Elita 1
from the Transformers Legacy toy line. This mold was recently redecoed and released as Minerva. So Elita 1 here is designed to look more like her G1 cartoon self rather than just another redeco of RC as she has previously been. So that's why she's got the horny helmet. Nice! By the way, what does her alt mode look like? I don't recall it from the cartoon. Well, that's because she was on screen for like 2 frames in her vehicle mode. Oh, wow. So they actually included a horny helmet as a separate piece to plug into the car roof. That's wild. Like it's a hat instead of a danged head. Yes, and that brings us to Override here. She's an awesome character from the Cybertronian colony world of Velocitron. This toy is pretty faithful to the original animation's design for both the robot and alt modes, though it does pay homage to the original toy in both deco and mimicry of that toy's gimmicks. Okay, that is a really cool looking race car. I like the way her legs turn into like these swooping hood bits. And that gun to engine thing, that's fairly clever too. It's really kind of wild that we got so many ladies in the mainline toys over the last couple of years. There's also new female characters from the current Transformers Earthspark TV series on the shelves right now. The toys are aimed at a younger audience, so they don't really appeal to a nostalgic old geezer like me. This last one, though, man, I love me some Transformers crossover toys. This is Transformers X Jurassic Park Tyrannicon Rex. She's an original character based on the T-Rex from the first 2 Jurassic Park movies. So Tyrannicon here is a slight retool and major recolor of the recent Kingdom Beast Wars Megatron toy. There's not much in the way of fiction around this character, but since all of the dinos in Jurassic Park were female, so is she. Kind of a fiddly transformation, eh? Looks like they went with soft rubber bits for the dino flesh panels because so many of them collide. But also to make it feel more leathery like actual dino skin in Jurassic Park would have felt, if they were real. But this dino mode is perfect. Even with the seams between the panels, I just love the articulation in the T-Rex head and the expressive eyes that looks like they should be able to move. The paintwork is phenomenal on the Dino mode. About the only improvements I could see would be some paint on her robot mode. She's all red and like black plastic. Well, there's a toy hack set for that, which we actually have, and which we will do a separate video on. Well, that wraps up the Hasbro figures. You want to take a look at the third-party offerings? Do I? So many third-party goodies to choose from. Oh, I really want to talk about that Windblade. But why don't we cover these 3 versions of RC over here first? Actually, that's 2 RCs and 1 original character, but sure, let's take a look at those first. So here we have Amy by Dr. Wu and Mechanic Studio, Peach Girl by Makudo, and Wuling Mini EV Nebula by Sci-Figure Industries. I pretty much took the Nebula figure to be an RC when I first opened her, but she's actually an original creation. More on her in a sec. So, Amy here basically looks like a shrunk-down masterpiece RC. I dig the robot mode, so much detail and articulation in such a small package. She even has a gun that looks like the one from the G1 cartoon. That's nice. And here's the alt mode. Yep, that's definitely RC's alt mode. Again, it's so very neat and tidy for being such a small figure. You like small, huh? Well, meet Peach Girl by Mukudo. Well, this is too cute. She looks like a little kid cosplaying as RC. She's even got the kid proportions with the big-ass head and all. Yep, she's pretty much a chibi RC. Her head is huge, face is cute. Her little body and stubby little limbs do make her look like a kid in a costume. I really like the pearlescent finish on some of the paint. Given her transformation, the neck joint is a tad floppy, but I think the cuteness factor kind of makes up for all that stuff. Wow! The alt mode also looks like a shrinky-dink version of the actual RC. I kind of like this thing. Well, if you like that one, you're going to love this one. Sci-Figure Industries partnered with the manufacturer of the most popular electric vehicle in China to produce this little gem. So her name is actually Nebula, but she looks like an anime version of RC, so I slapped an Autobot insignia on her from the Toy Hacks label set. Is that die-cast metal in her legs? Yep, her lower legs and feet are die-cast, which gives her some much-needed stability. I really dig the big blue eyes and the mixture of pink tones. There are hand options that she comes with as well. She's got a lot of personality. Also, her carpets are completely removable, so you can actually have a car shell and the bot together. Alright, well that's pretty cool. So, she basically folds up into her car shell? Yeah, and therein lies the one real drawback to this figure. The transformation is fiddlier than a barn dance. I generally don't like shelf warmers very much, but most of them are tolerable. This little lady is a pain and a half. So, no transformation video for this one. It's too frustrating. I will, however, show you her weapon. OMG, I am in love. That looks so cool. I know, right? It's made from the barrel piece, which stows away under the roof in car mode, and her rear bumper folded in half, stuck together. Alright, meet Ninja Girl, also by Makuto. She's meant to be Nightbird, who you may not know. She was a female robot ninja, invented by humans in the original G1 cartoon. She never had an alt mode in the original cartoon, but toys of her since have always been recolors of RC and Chromia toys, hence Ninja Girl. Looks like Makuto found the base body and engineering that works and just got busy on redecos, huh? Well, you're kinda right, but Ninja Girl and Peach Girl transform exactly the same. Alright, twinsies. I get it. Still, look really good for starting out with a super deformed version of their original bot modes. Okay, now for the big sister, so to speak. Bingo Toys Wind Girl, aka Windblade. Now that is a magnificent toy. Very well done. Almost like a posable statue of one of those furry model kits, but with seriously good paintwork. Yep, pretty much everything about this figure screams premium, right down to the sweet translucent swords. She has so many of them. The paintwork is impressive. She comes with face and hand options. The only thing that belies the small price point on this figure, compared to other premium figures, is the lack of any sort of die-cast metal. To be fair, this is pretty much what she looked like in the comics where she originated from, with a few liberties taken here and there. Can we talk about why a sentient race of asexually reproducing robots have boobs? I know, right? I mean, the obvious answer is that these are fictional characters designed by a sentient race of squishy meatbags who are very much aware of secondary sexual characteristics, despite how illogical they may be for the intended application. Yeah, but also boobs. You are going to get your furry little ass canceled if you keep that up. Hey, I didn't make the figure. No hands, remember? Yeah, well, there's no denying that certain aspects of Windblade's design have always seemed to illogically cater to a human's tastes, despite the fact that she's from an alien world, wholly unaware of humanity at the time of her creation. But yeah, there's perhaps a bit more of that in this design for the figure than there strictly needs to be. Anyway, what's a jet mode look like? there you go. Not the most convincing Jet ever, but then she's a Transformer from a world where you don't have to hide in an earthly alt mode, so maybe this is fine. It definitely looks better with the swords installed as wings than not. There are no instructions included with WinGirl, just QR codes in the box flaps to watch stop-motion transformation videos on YouTube. Any final thoughts on this group? Well, I appreciate the efforts by Hasbro and third-party companies to bring more female characters to life in toy form over the past couple of years. I also like that most of them are cutesy or faithful recreations of relatively unknown characters instead of pervy reimaginings of the same Fem-Bot over and over. I'm looking forward to seeing more female Transformer toys that follow more of a can't-tell at first glance kind of aesthetic, like Override, Earthspark's Twitch, and the Air Razor toys that came out in Kingdom and in the current Rise of the Beast toy line.
Well, folks, there you go. Our reprise of female Transformers. Maybe we'll do this every couple years. Although, it would be nice to get to a point where we didn't have to do special Women's History Month editions of our shows. You know, if women were just, I don't know, equally represented in media for a change. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, I think so too. Anyway, folks, thank you for spending time with us on our silly little channel. We appreciate you. Hit that like button if you like this video. Please consider subscribing. It costs you nothing, helps us out. And in the meantime, be good people. We'll see you next time. Mwah!